hindquarters. He was fine. The vet couldn't really find anything too solid, or maybe a little arthritis, but not really. So she thought, well, that must have just been a strange incident. And then bizarrely, he won another class like a little late after that. And then when he got out of the ring, he kind of went after another fellow contender, which they're not supposed to do. He went to the end of his leash and almost wanted to attack the other dog, which someone else saw, and he ended up getting stripped of his title because they're not supposed to show aggression like that. They're supposed to be obedient. And whatever it is he did was beyond the boundaries of the rules of that particular show. So she suddenly had this dog that was really happy at what he did and proud of himself for doing it, and all of a sudden he wasn't. And this is another story of anxiety. I had a lot of appointments with this dog. We had to sort of work this through. But the dog was convinced that everything was hard now. Like everything he used to do that was easy no longer was easy. There was always trouble lurking that he had to be careful of. And, of course, you know what I'm going to say here, right? This was the woman's attitude. She had been widowed, and so she went from being, a partnered person in a life that worked for her to a person that felt alone and scared and had to make all these financial decisions by herself for the first time, had to, move her whole home. And there were a lot of troubles and problems that came from that she had to face on her own without the luxury and the happiness that comes from sharing that with a partner to work it through. It's a very different feeling to do it by yourself versus having a co-conspirator in life when things get a little shaky. And so she was shaky. And so what she did was she turned to showing her dog more because that's where all her friends were. It allowed her to travel a little bit, get away from home, and do the things she loved to do, which was hang around with dog people and talk about dogs and look at beautiful dogs and be in her world. So she was pretty devastated when her dog started acting like it wasn't his world anymore and he didn't want to do it anymore. So when she called me, she said, I think he wants to quit, and I think something's really wrong with him physically that isn't just showing up yet when the normal diagnostics are done. Can you pinpoint for me where he hurts in his body? Because he must be hurting because he's twirling and growling and snapping at people now. So he did have one thing on his hip that was bothering him, his right hip. So we determined that maybe he needed like a chiropractor and some massage to try to just help like a soft tissue injury that was annoying him. But on a scale of, 0 to 10, 10 being the worst pain, it was like a 2 or 3. It wasn't that bad. Now, everybody's sensitive. One person's not too bad pain might not be another's. But, he was like, oh, yeah, that doesn't bother me that much. Mostly it's her mood. So then he showed what she was sending to him, and that was the suspicion that something is really wrong. I have to be very careful. Whatever I do next could be the end of me. Like if I'm not careful how I pay my bills, I'm going to run out of money. If I'm not careful where I move to, I could be really unhappy and lose the opportunity for a nice home. So that was her approach to life. So when I explained that to her, because the dog showed me, a myriad of pictures of her being distressed. So when I explained it to her what I was seeing, at first she said, no, that can't be. I love going to dog shows. I'm not tense. And I said, well, I don't think it's the dog show. I think it's what you're doing every day. It's like the thoughts that are crossing the screen of your mind are like dark clouds coming across a blue sky all the time. And I said, you basically have a blue sky. I can see that, but you're dealing with a lot of clouds and dark thoughts and, a little depression. So
we all wish we could talk to animals. As it turns out, we can. Animal Connections with Laura Rowley explores the nature of interspecies communication. What are our animals?
She changed. She saw that maybe I'm resisting something that I should not resist anymore. So this lovely woman first resisted the information because she, of course, does everything she can to make this dog happy, and it turns out she was making him unhappy. Nobody wants to feel bad about that stuff, But I said, it's okay, don't worry about it. So she asked the dog if he wanted to keep showing, and he said to her, no, I don't, not until you feel happy about this. It's kind of a strain on me now, and I'm a little nervous in the ring, and you're really nervous all the time, so I just feel like I can't really do this for a while. So that, of course, made her sad, but she said, fair enough, why don't I take a hiatus? We'll stop showing, and she decided to make some changes in how she looked at her own life. And, it's a process. So we ended up working together for, I don't know, maybe a year, every couple months. We kind of got together again with her dog to see, well, how's she doing? Which she ended up being really happy about that because the dog said, I think she's improving. And she said, I think I am too. I was looking for like the big hairy spider in the corner of every room I was in, and I didn't even know I was doing that. So if we're not afraid to first sort of identify the problem, then you can take action and make yourself happy by seeing what needs changing. And help animals, your pet, helps you with this crucial step. It's a crucial step to notice that you're off the mark. Sometimes we just don't even notice that we are. She really didn't notice that she was fretful all the time. She was mourning. She was not in a great space, but she didn't realize she was being afraid, anxious, and she was. So if you first identify the problem, then you can take an action. But until we get to that step of identifying the problem, the first critical problem of where am I not happy, then we can't really go on to the second step, which is, talk it through with yourself, talk it through with your family, talk it through with a supportive person, a professional or a friend. Bring light to that darkness that's inside of you and say, that's okay. I don't need to hide from this part of myself or let it run my life anymore. I can drag it out into the light and say, I don't really like this part of myself. I think I'm going to edit it. And you can do that. And so often this step resolves the issue with the animal. Like when the person said, oh, you're right, I am being like that. My pet is right, I am being like that. Then all of a sudden you kind of start to catch yourself when you start to get clouds across your blue sky and you start to say, oh, I don't really need to look at it quite this way. I think I'm going to think of it more positively. So that's where the positive outlook can come in that can heal so many things. So this bringing light to it, when I work with someone, often that person came to me with the intention of, I am determined to bring light to this problem with my beloved pet. And now all of a sudden the job becomes loving themselves more. The job becomes they are part of the issue. And then the pet heals along with them. Sometimes it's pretty instantaneous. Sometimes it's more of a process. I'm always pretty privileged to get to be in the middle of it all because certainly I've been there myself with just about everything you can imagine. And, recognizing where you can improve is really that's kind of a gift. It's a tool that can't be underestimated in our lives because then we can make ourselves happy. We can take charge again. And the quest for happiness can then feel more like a self-generated quest. And I want to thank you so much for listening today. You've been with Laura Rowley, and this is Animal Connections with Laura Rowley on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network. I'm on every Friday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time. You can listen online or on your mobile devices. To learn more or for a full schedule, go to dreamvision7radio.com. Dream Vision 7 Radio Network is the media partner for the Omega Institute. Have a great week.
Thank you for joining Animal Connections with Laura Rowley. Heard every Friday at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Join Laura next time to discover how you can embrace the wisdom flowing from your loved animals. Communication starts with an intention to understand. Each week, Laura helps you find your own unique ability to create a better understanding of yourself as taught through the loving eyes of your animals. To connect with Laura Rowley, go to laurarowleyhealer.com. That's LauraRowley healer.com.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.